I don't know.
John.
It's
Hi, John. Hi,
pretty
Fred.
nice
Hi,
out
John.
today.
Yeah, it was nice. Ron,
Hi there.
nice sign you saw there the other day, huh?
What
Huh?
what happened there? Did we approve that thing?
No,
I didn't think so. That's terrible.
I would never let that happen. Trust me.
Right. I
There's
figured that.
one.
I'll figure it out tomorrow and let you know.
Okay, great. Thank you.
That'll be coming down. One way or the other.
Are you on Zoom?
Yes. Oh.
Did Liz confirm?
Yes,
Um,
Matt did also.
I
There he
didn't,
is.
I don't know where I went.
There you are.
We got you. Wait a couple of minutes for Liz, otherwise Matt could start if he wanted to.
Yeah. She didn't say anything about being late or anything, so she'll probably be here in a second.
Yeah, give her a couple of minutes.
Was there an agenda sent for this?
Yeah,
Yeah, that addition to Bradley and Wall. Right?
See, I don't know why. Okay. That come from Maria or John? Anybody know?
I think
Maria.
it came from Maria.
Okay. I missed it.
That's all there was, though, right?
There's only two items on there. One is that.
Oh, here it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
John, Deloro,
Yes,
I noticed, I don't know if you have, that there are signs popping out all over the place, on the public, on the public, on the town, on town property, on the roads, advertising local services like lawn services and and other things. I know people, need to work for sure, but that's sort of unusual. We've never allowed that.
yeah. I think what happens during the COVID,
Right.
we sort of did give them a little bit of a pass, and we're a little bit more lenient on that. We're starting to pick it up a little bit now. I've picked up some over the last week or so, and apparently I'll get out, I've got to get out and pick up. I saw a few of them even on Horse Pond Road going
Right.
into work.
I saw that today, actually.
There's two of them there, yeah.
On Route 1 and Liberty
Yeah.
Street. There were a couple also.
Thanks for bringing that up. I'll pay attention to those.
Right.
Yeah, that's what happens. You give them a break, and it never ends. So we'll start ending it.
Well, I mean, I understand people need it, but
Well, yeah, but there's a process for those signs, and they're not following the process because they didn't have to really, basically under the executive orders that everybody could just do what they wanted to do. So we'll tighten it up a little bit. I've got a new boss now that's pretty strict, so I got to go back to work.
Oops, there she
Apparently,
is.
I got to go back to work. Apparently. I'm going to give her a call, see what's up.
Yeah.
Who are we waiting for?
The
Liz?
chairwoman. But I can sit in for her. She's
Our
asked me to do that before.
Aaron, and John Matthews says he can see all of us, but he's not on the screen. Is we just waiting for the meeting to
Right,
start?
I have,
Okay,
yeah, I have to promote him over.
okay.
I will. I was just waiting to start, John. That's all. I might as well. Save time.
Liz? Yeah. Yeah, hi Liz, it's John Delore. I'm just checking to see if you're going to be in attendance this afternoon for this meeting. I think we're going to have Matt Williams, sit in and have him start the meeting. It's 8 after 5 now. So when you can get in, just get in and you'll be, seated immediately. So appreciate it. Hope all is well. I hope you didn't get in any kind of trouble there. So thank you. Okay, bye.
Okay, I'd like to call a meeting to order. My name is Matt Williams. I'm co-vice chair, whatever my title is, and I'll sit in for Liz just to run this very simple meeting. I think everybody knows what it is we do here. We know John knows, John Matthews, that is. And the one item on the agenda is application 21-31 96 Wall Street, which looks like an addition to the Bradley and Wall building. John, do you want to walk us through this thing?
Yes, Aaron, can you put some of the documents up, or shall I just verbally describe?
I'm happy to, John. What would you like first? The site plan?
Yeah, well, let's start with a site plan.
Okay. Let's get us going here.
So while she's doing that, Bradley and Wall has been a series of buildings over the years. I don't know if I can point, but the big front portion of the building was the newer building. The rear square that you see furthest from Wall Street was sort of a barn, we'll call it, or a shed. And then in between those two structures, there are a series of additions and constructions. That other smaller square that you see is actually a walk-in cooler. So if you see the hatched area there, that's the amount of actual footprint we're adding. On the west end, closest to Wall Street, comes out about 2'6" from that portion of the building. And then on the east side, closest to the rear property, it comes out 9'2" from what we'll call the barn. And then that area in between the barn and the back of that original building, I think that Duo designed, was totally renovating that to make the kitchen a workable kitchen. So if we're not changing anything on the site, we're taking out some landscaping, but we'll be putting some additional landscaping in where that comes out, where the addition goes. In order to put the foundation in, we have to take out the two existing, there's some conifers there. But we'll be replacing those. And then down to the lower right of the barn, those two rectangles, that's the dumpsters that exist today. And then the cross-hatching to the left and to the east of the barn, we're actually putting in a bed of crushed stone to help deal with the roof drainage that exists today, but is not really controlled very well. So if we could then go to the next slide.
Yes.
This is a drawing here that shows, well, there's something missing. This is a proposed drawing with the addition added in here. And what we're doing is reworking this whole area of the kitchen. You can see those dotted lines. That's where the exterior wall is now. Now, in order for the kitchen help and the staff to get to the barn, they actually have to come through the kitchen, go outside, and then go into the barn. And with this new plan, we're setting up a path where people from the front can come past the washrooms, make a left and then a right, and go right into the storage barn. That's where a lot of food and some food prep is done. And then you can see the walk-in cooler, which has the big X. And this is a drawing that was done by our food consultant, which puts in right now and again, I thought we were going to see the existing plan first, but this is the proposed plan. Right now, if you'll scroll
Let's
back
see.
down.
Yeah, we may
the
have-
other way, Aaron.
I think it's the next one, Aaron. If
He's
you keep
got 'em
going
in.
down.
Yeah.
Or that's,
Well, actually, there's another one. Keep going down, because I think it's helpful. No, that's the elevations, because there was an existing conditions plan.
Number did you make it? Here it is.
Here it
It's
is.
the last one.
Well, right, it's the last one. So
There-
now the main entrance is up at the
Here.
top of the screen. That's that's to the deck, the entrance there. That's the main entrance. That's the serving line. This is the pizza area as you come down here. And then this is the existing kitchen. And so for the kitchen help, for the people from the behind the line, they have to come in, go through the kitchen, come out the door, and then go into the door to get all their stuff. And there's constant traffic through the whole process, which is a disaster. So now if we could go back up three hits, Aaron.
I'm sorry to scroll like this.
Okay, yeah, this is good. So this is a staging plan. So what we're going to do is right now, this where the big rectangle of hatches is, that's where the drink coolers are. And if you'll scroll down just a little bit, other way,
No scroll.
up here, we're going to temporarily relocate those drink coolers over to this wall. And then this area where the drink coolers were, we're going to use as a prep area for the kitchen. Because as you can see, right now the cooking and all is done in this blank area behind the pizza place. So we can continue to cook in there, we can continue to prep, and then we can build this exterior wall, and we're going to build a roof over the existing roof so the kitchen can stay in operation for as long as it possibly can. But they're going to have to shut down for a period of time, which they want to do in the winter time. And so now, so this is like a staging plan. So now if we go back to the other plan, so scroll, yeah, keep going. Okay, so now you can see this is the build-out plan. So where those sinks are, that's where that was part of the original kitchen. The new stoves are going into the addition, and the prep area is going to be happening in the kitchen and also in this area here where these cleanup sinks are. And this device you see as you come in from the main building, that's a big dough machine that and a big mixer that helps prepare things. And so now people from the line in the kitchen can get directly into the storage facility, and this because they're there like 50 times an hour going back and forth, and they can get to the cooler, which is where the X is. There's actually 2 doors to the cooler. And so it really makes, and this is a layout that was done by Hasbro, who's a kitchen supplier, and is someone that Joe has worked with over the years. These are all kind of cooking devices here, fryers and so forth, and a larger range, and then a big work table. So when people come, they can pick up stuff here and then take it out to the line. Or if they do pickup orders, you know, it can be assembled in this area in the center here of the kitchen. It's a much improved operation. And then there's a door directly out to the trash. And then there's a door here where the loading would come through when they bring in supplies. It come through that door and go right into the storage barn directly. They're inside. And so now let's look at the elevations. Let's go back for a sec. That's just the roof plan. I think that would be helpful. So that's the original building to the top that Duo did. The square to the bottom is the existing gambrel roof barn, and the new roof would be between those 2 elements. And then there's a piece of roof to the right. We'll call it like a mansard roof, which you'll see in the elevation. And that's to screen off all the fresh air makeup, the exhaust for all the stoves and everything in this roof. And that roof will be sloping back and drain into those gravel beds that we're going to create around the building. So let's go now to the elevations, or whichever one comes first.
John, I'm just going to butt in here for a second. Aaron, yeah, do that. There you go. Perfect. Thanks.
See, I wasn't sure if it made a difference for the floor plan, but definitely the elevation.
Yeah,
So this elevation is from the parking lot. You can see the main entrance there. And then the structure that you see to the left of that goes up, it's quite high. It comes up like 14 or 15 feet. And then it has a roof that goes back like a mansard, which you can see in the lower two elevations. The one on the right is, I'm sorry, the one on the right is mislabeled. It says site section looking west. It should have said site section looking east, because that's what you would see from the street. And this other one is looking west. I just noticed that they're mislabeled. So this is the front door to the deck is what you see about to the left of those three windows. And then you see the little roof sticking out to the left over the entryway. And then that's quite a ways back. And then there's some lattice screening that screens off the equipment on the roof. The top of the hood exhaust has to be up where it's free and clear, which you can see more to the section to the left. And then if you go down some more, Aaron, this is what you'd see from the south. In other words, this is an existing roof, those shingles that you see, and then there's that flat roof where you see that big square, that's the air intake, and then way beyond that, the tubular is the exhaust for the actual stove hood. And then if we go to the next slide, you can see these sections, you'll kind of understand what's happening. This one is labeled correct. Section at new addition looking west. That shows the new roof up there, and it shows how the hood is drained or empties out, and then you can see the fresh air makeup coming into the hood. And then you can see the dotted line of the existing roof over that area. That new roof would be built over the existing roof so they could stay in operation. And then once that roof is put in place, then they would shut down, rip out that roof, and bring in the new equipment. Section 2 is looking east. Again, that's looking towards the rear of the property. You can see this outline of the barn there. Again, the new roof would be that flat roof coming across. And again, this is a section taken through the back of the front building. There's an attic in the rear portion of that, which stays. It has some mechanical equipment and so forth in that, but that stays as is. And then that's a section cut through the prep area of the kitchen, and that's where the bathrooms are to the right, and that's the hallway that goes back there. So, Aaron, I think let's see what else we have here. And I think if you put up those two photos that I sent you, that would really give you a sense of the mess that exists there today that we're trying to overcome. So this is looking from the parking lot. You can see the barn structure in the back. Now they have this funky little roof that sort of protects someone from coming out of a door from behind this corner and then going into the storage area. The new addition would start to the left of that door going into the barn, approximately where the edge of that screen door would be. And then it would come all the way over to this corner here on the right, and that's where it comes out 2'6". And then it goes across. It's at an angle because we had to stay 10 feet away from the existing septic system. So it's not quite parallel to the building. It's angled off a bit. And from that screen door it comes out 9'3". And then all that construction that you're looking at between the two buildings effectively goes away. And then the next shot, it shows a little, and all the materials would match those existing clapboard color shingles. And again, that just sort of shows you that's the door that comes out of the existing kitchen. There's a little storeroom and that black door behind that. And then the door to the left is the door into the storage thing. So this comes out 2'6". This is really a Rubik's Cube puzzle here, trying to figure this out, to try to figure out a way to keep them in business as long as possible before we do this. But it's really a mess in terms of how that kitchen operates. I'm amazed that they can put out the quantity of food they do in the circumstances they're working in.
John, what happens to that existing exhaust stuff on top of the roof? Does
That
get
all
torn off
gets
and
taken
something-
out and is replaced with what you saw in those sections.
Just that one
That's
big
part of
stack?
the downtime is, once they get the roof on, then they're going to cut off that existing exhaust and then go and put all the new stuff in. If you looked at that picture, which you saw some of that exhaust stuff. I mean, it's really been there's been 2 or 3 operators here and everyone sort of did their own thing about stuff. Some of the stuff there is actually obsolete and some of it supposedly works. We're not sure some of it actually does or not. So this is going to end up with a sort of a brand new kitchen, a brand new mechanical system, which will be a great improvement for Bradley and Wall.
Is that all, John? Do you want to hear what any of us think about this, or just have us vote?
Well, I mean, it's pretty well described in those drawings. I assume you guys have copies of those.
Yeah, I've
Make 'em-
actually. Oh, go ahead, John.
I was just gonna make a motion to approve
That
as
one
presented.
sheet that those two sections are mislabeled. East is west and west is east.
Yeah.
You look at these things and look at them and somehow you never end up seeing everything quite right.
Does anybody have any comments before John makes a motion or questions?
It's a little unfortunate that we see the stack, that exhaust stack from the street, but I don't know where else you could put it in.
You're not going to see the stack from the street. You're only going to
You
see
won't.
the cap, but that cap has to be up and visible. There's no way to not.
Right.
But you're only going to see that little mushroom piece.
Oh, that's all? Oh,
Actually,
okay.
there's an existing mushroom on the front building over the pizza place that
Yeah, I
stays.
know.
It's there today. I mean, you'll see that before you ever see the one in the back.
Oh, okay. I thought you saw the whole thing, but I guess not.
Fred?
Otherwise, it's fine.
Could you, Aaron, by the way, the drawings, John, are like really wonderfully clear, and I can appreciate what it takes to crowbar all this stuff in there. Could you just bring the drawings up again and just go to that section sheet? Because I just have one thing that John might want to consider, a tiny little tweak. While you're doing that, I'll say, I think you've done a really good job of screening this. And I don't think there's anything you could do
Oh, I see.
to screen it anymore. But if you could zoom in on that lower left-hand drawing on that sheet a little bit.
Oh, I see. There it is. Yeah.
And so this is the section through the restaurant or that back
But this
kitchen
was
area.
actually a section through the back portion
Right.
of the building that's actually not in the restaurant. It's in the existing kitchen, actually.
Right. And then that lattice work, and then the mansard, you see the profile of the mansard there. And I was wondering, John, is there a reason why you couldn't sort of do a little return complementary slope back toward the existing roof of the mansard? So in other words, if you took that mansard profile and mirrored it around that vertical piece of trim where the lattice starts, and then maybe even do away with the lattice, because when you look up there, you're not really going to see anything, I don't think, with that little opening. And it just would sort of eliminate a material and maybe simplify it. I mean, it's
Well,
something
see,
I would just,
That
I would just-
exhaust fan is, I don't know, 8 or 10 feet back from where the lattice is.
Right.
So from an angle,
Yeah.
you're not really going to see that. I guess if we go to the roof plan, that might be interesting to look at.
Okay, yeah, I think if,
I
do
mean,
people
the
understand
other-
what
the
people
other
understand
thing-
what I'm saying? I mean, I can't point, but I think that, right, yeah, right, if you just, an angle like opposite the mansard profile, over here, oh, you had it, Aaron. Go back to where you were on the
I'm
mansard.
not sure I'm following what you say.
But
I
take
also
that
have
and if you go up to the top there, Aaron, now slope back toward the original roof, down. There you go. So like if you did a little complementary pitch there, it would
So
leave you either
saying-
a little, it would leave
you're
you either a
saying
little,
to do a wall that comes back, or
yeah, just a little wall here. And it doesn't, I wouldn't run it horizontally, just like replace it with a lattice. You could do it at an angle and maybe just leave what would be an upper triangle of lattice out. You know, if you didn't think it was going to really screen anything, which I doubt you really notice. What it means is when you walk up to the building and you look up at this
Like
tall element that's at the end, is you'd see a more familiar gable, you know, just familiar as far as everything else around here, and not so much the profile of the mansard. You know what I mean? I think the lattice
Right.
kind of just calls attention to that.
that would just be a screen wall. So I think
Yeah,
if-
exactly. Just a screen wall. That's it.
my only concern is we need to have the air movement around the intake thing. But just, let's look at the roof plan if we could, Aaron. Yeah, and move it over to the right. Okay, right there. Okay, so where you're talking about is, see where whoever has their arrow there, over to the left more. See that dotted line?
Yep.
That's where the lattice would be. So what you're saying is if we brought a little wall down that just had a, you know, had a row of shingles on top of the wall in lieu of the lattice. So it
Well,
would just go
yeah.
from there to there. And on the back side, it would be a solid wall because I can,
Yeah, I think it's sort of like, you see where the ridge, where the top of your mansard is, that line. If from
Yeah.
that line, you started to slope back toward the other roof, and wherever they collide, this thing stops. And then that little wall that you've created that you're seeing from down below would just get the same siding material as the rest of the
Right,
building
so-
up
but are you
there.
saying to actually bring a roof all the way down?
No. You've got it right. A wall and maybe just maybe a 1 foot wide strip of roof. So you have a rake.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just let it die into the existing roof and do away with the lattice. And I'm
Right.
just saying, I just think it just simplifies the look. That's all.
Yeah, I think I could work something like that out. I mean, I think, from the other side, because of where the barn roof and all comes in, you're not really going to see anything. I mean,
Yeah,
that's-
over there, forget it. I'm just talking about where you're coming in the front door of the building, you could look up at
Yeah,
that
just
and
look
see a little mini gable and not the profile of the mansard.
yeah, I need to leave as much free space around that big rectangle, which is the fresh air makeup, and it has to be at least 10 feet away from where the exhaust fan is, which you can see on the drawing there.
But and only if you think if it's the right thing, John. I'm not trying to, I just think it's something that you might like if you tried it.
Well, no, I can see that working, and I don't think that's a huge big deal to do.
Okay.
And I can, unfortunately, my guy working on this is not in tomorrow, but I can get that done. We're on zoning Thursday night. So
Okay.
if you want to make that a condition, we could certainly make that as a little triangle piece of roof. And if we go back to that elevation again.
Mhm. Does anybody else think do you think that improves it, or what's everybody else's feeling on that possible suggestion?
I would agree with you, Matt.
Yeah, scroll up, Darren. Yeah, so what we're saying is where you see that wall come up to a point, then that would be like a ridge, and then it would turn and go back down sort of at the same angle.
Right.
And that this clapboard that you see would go all the way across there.
Yeah, yeah. And then you could either keep that little bit of lattice up there, but I think you probably could
But
just
I
get
don't
rid of
think
it.
you're gonna need the lattice.
Yeah, I
because
don't either.
frankly,
Yeah,
That, the new exhaust that you're looking at is like 10 feet away.
yeah, Yeah.
And the fresh air makeup is lower than that, and it's sitting down flat on the roof. It's only like a couple of feet high.
yeah. I think you've done a good job of really
And then
paying
so
attention to try to keep it all.
Look at the one on the left where it says it's looking west,
Just
but it
create a
should say
complementary
east.
roof, that's all.
You would see that same wall, but beyond that,
Right, right.
back over
Yeah.
there.
Just go right back down.
Yeah,
No, I think that's a good suggestion, Matt.
okay.
So if you guys approve this and could make that a condition of approval, would appreciate that, where we could hopefully get through P and Z Thursday. And then we could do our construction drawings.
Okay, does somebody want to entertain a motion?
Matt, do you want me to modify my motion?
You can, or we can have discussion about it.
I was just
Doesn't
gonna
matter.
say that, well, I made a motion to approve as presented. I'll now make a motion to approve with the new modifications that we just went over with the mansard roof as opposed to the lattice.
Any discussion?
But really, that's a screen wall, John, if you want to be precise.
Yeah,
Okay, screen wall.
yeah. Any discussion? Fred, are you good? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thanks, John.
Okay, so I will get a modified drawing together and get it over to you, Aaron, before Thursday night.
Thanks, John.
Thank you
Matt,
very much, guys.
who seconded
Appreciate
that?
it. This has
Oh,
been
who
an
seconded that?
interesting
I'm
project.
sorry, I'm rusty.
I'll second it.
Ron, retroactively. Thanks, Ron. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. Is there anything else on the agenda?
Yeah,
Adjournment, is that it? But,
No, 92
No,
Scotland Avenue
92
is
Scotland.
returning to you.
oh, I'm not
Uh,
looking at the right agenda then, sorry.
Let me just bring them over for you, okay?
Yeah. Oh, there's a special meeting additional,
yeah, that's different.
oh, those are minutes, never mind. Okay, okay, 92 Scotland Avenue, which I guess is a continuation from last month, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
is the, who's going to speak first, Greg?
Greg Fettis with Fettis Engineering, office at 70 Essex Street, Mystic, Connecticut, representing the owners of 92 Scotland. With me is Leif Klein and Trey Pratt, who are owners of the property and the applicants. So if I can maybe share my screen.
Yes.
Okay. Hold on. All right, so we wrote a letter to Aaron, I believe, with some revisions that some of the stuff we took from last meeting. So the big things we didn't mess with the layout or the configuration of the units. We had spent quite a bit of time early on in this project in trying to get what we felt was the best layout for the project, and kind of, the street front on Scotland, and then a little kind of rotation around the green area for the 4 units, the poor balance of the 4 units. So we did create a horseshoe versus a loop with the walkway. We did move some of the plantings around in the rain garden to keep them more on the high side or on the slopes. We did offer a little screening between the porches, which is basically a 5-foot high cedar fence, 10 feet long, with grasses on either side, which we detailed. We did add, and I'm going to switch to the architecturals real quick. We did add the condenser to the side of the building, and then we added specifications. Which talks about the materials for the exterior and the interior. So we had talked about last time with doing something with the gables above, a variation, front door colors. Those were kind of, I think, 2 of the bigger things that would differentiate the units. Just bring up my letter to see. So this was the letter we wrote on November 24th. Differentiate each home with unique color entry door and a mixture of upper gable end materials, including shingles, V-groove, board and batten, siding finishes. As I stated, we deleted the outermost edge of the courtyard walking loop. We did show 4 benches. They are movable, so they're not permanent installations. So we'll kind of work to figure out what's best once we get the project moving along, configuration-wise. We did add, and I'll flip back and just show you that, the permeable pavers in a few different areas. We also added a note to the ADA parking spot. If that's not going to be used as an ADA or is not required, we would use it as a parking delivery parking option for small box trucks such as the Amazon van or the FedEx. We'll add the rails to the entrances of units 1 and 2 if code requires it. As I stated before, the plantings midway in the upper edge of the rain garden, we did that, and we added some fencing and hedges, or not hedges, but grasses between the units. And as I stated, we added the heat pump. So I'm just going to flip back to permeable pavers. So coming off of Scotland will be permeable pavers going to the concrete sidewalk. And then from the covered porches to the main walkway will all be permeable pavers. And then also the entrances off of the parking lot will be permeable pavers, and then switch back to a stone dust type walkway. So I think that's it. Leif Klein is going to present a little PowerPoint, just talking about some of the other benefits of the cottage community that we're presenting, and I'll unshare or stop my share and let him start his.
Hi, everybody. Leif Klein, 92 Scotland. I live at 25 Maplewood Drive, Clinton, Connecticut. I need to share my desktop. Can you see it?
Yep.
So here was our little idea. I guess we should have presented this at the first meeting, but this is pretty much what we began with at the very start, was to have a small cottage community. Everything needs a name, so we thought we would call it Scotland Commons, a small connected community for the project. We believed we would have smaller cottage style houses that are space saving design, quality construction, energy efficient, and then of course built to rent. So the 6 units would be rented. We thought about communities where you had neighbors that were actually close by, not separated by physical fencing, trees, things like that. So people would actually see each other, greet each other. There would be porches, community space, and then different folks visible to each other. As of the last couple of meetings, we've heard a lot about the general's residence. I guess ours could be considered the private residence. They're smaller, a lot smaller than the general's residence. The red outline of our cottage there is imposed to scale on a general's residence. I would say roughly half the size of one of those in footprint as well. This is a neighbor to the west, right across the street from the property. Again, to scale, probably 2/3 the size of that particular residence. I think that property has 3 or 4 buildings on it. And the neighbor to the north, I think it's a duplex, could be more in there. Again, scaled out, it's roughly half the size of what is existing to our neighbor in the north. Greg already showed you the layout, so I'm not going to bring you to that, but our original goal was 6 units, less than 950 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bath, 2 stories. You've seen all that. You've seen these, the floor plans. Energy efficient. Well, we're striving to do this from the beginning. Highly insulated homes, energy efficient appliances, all electric, more or less cheap to run, energy efficient, small utility bills. Everybody knows the benefits of Madison. I used to live there for 27 years, I think. But these particular units, you can walk to the train station, walk to town, and of course, walk to East Wharf Beach. These are just the properties around the compass. We're surrounded by a ball field, a couple of industrial parks, a duplex, some smaller homes, and then that neighbor to the west directly is property with 3 or 4 structures on it. And then, of course, we saw some benefits to Madison, attract a varied population. Anybody could live there is what we're proposing. Provides in-town living, of course, with the walking conditions to the town's best features. Support the local economy, more people shopping on Main Street and Wall Street. And then, of course, we think it would add some value to the immediate neighborhood. And then Trey is here with me at our dining room table here. So you guys had asked for some detail on, I think, the awnings and structures, right?
Yeah.
Can you unmute? Is Trey muted?
How about now?
I can hear you.
All right.
Last
year we did a kind of an echo here.
It was a case study, but
It was a case study, but it was in Madison, 800 square foot
cottage or tiny house.
cottage or tiny house by some measures.
Little more details or a lot more details.
Little more details or a lot more details than what we're proposing, but all the finishes and treatments an experimentation with energy efficiency was executed. This happens to be Energy Star rated geothermal heat and things like that. We're not proposing that. We're actually proposing air source geothermal and with spray foam and the like. But what you can start to see here is a gable end with a different finish. And I think this is what we were kind of tasked with doing, is kind of differentiate the unit. So here you see cedar shakes above what we're proposing, and that's the Hardy product. It's a 7-inch reveal concrete siding. But again, you can see that a metal roof, and it does look nice and black. So that certainly helps, but rather than a raw galvanized. There happens to be a house behind this house that kind of takes they're not connected. Yeah. This is the living area is 800 square feet. Again, Energy Star in Madison. And for a while anyway, it was a rental property and rather successful at that. But it can work as a small environment. And that's what we're trying to do here, is get these energy costs and fossil fuel use down. That's all I had to add, unless there's some questions. Or wait to the end.
Trey, or do you have Greg's drawings handy that you could pull them up and point to some things? If I have a couple of questions, I just wanted to know, these pictures are helpful, I think. But if you could walk us through the specific materials on the typical building, and just so that we understand maybe a little more clearly, because I know Greg would admit he's not trying to imitate an architect, and graphically he's not set up for it. But with the photos in mind, maybe you can help us visualize this a little better.
You want me to bring them up?
Sure.
Somebody, yeah, anybody. If you could
Greg
just, would be better if one of you do it, just so Aaron doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. Somebody.
Or Leif needs to stop sharing. Or share my drawings, Leif. Okay.
Is
that the one you want, Matt?
Yeah. So can we just start at the front of the building? Just zoom in on the front facade, and maybe you can just point out what the materials are. And I don't know if you've got colors selected for this. You mentioned, I think, maybe varying the colors of the front doors. I don't know if you guys have thought or what you've decided about the colors of the buildings, but so this is the front entrance, right? And so we're looking at fiber cement siding, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And the dotted lines there are what?
Okay. The units 5 and 6 have a full width porch on both the front and the back.
Okay.
And that's to kind of draw that house into those two houses into that courtyard feeling. However, the internal orientation is different than the other four. It is off to the so the kitchen, or the living area, I guess is what you might call it, is off towards the ball fields, or facing off towards the ball fields. But as far as windows, I think everything's white. I think I keep going back to white only because of the clapboards, the corner boards, the fascias, window trim, even the windows. White, just looking around the neighborhood, it seems to be more timeless than some of the other trends that might be going on. But a black roof, metal roof, only because just again, we're going to that maintenance free, and that's kind of the Hardy plank theme, or the AZEK corner boards that you saw in the full-size model, or test model anyway. But what else would we have for finishes?
Well,
there's
let
some
me
light details that show up on one plan.
Let me just butt in here for a second. I think, again, all we're really supposed to be concerned with is, sort of what this looks like from the community's viewpoint generally. Certainly if there's aspects of this internal to the site that whatever, blah, blah, blah. But so I just want to understand, if you can go back to the site plan, if you can just point out where the full porches are that are visible from the road or from the parking area. The full porches are, except for those back units look like they have porches front and back. Okay. So none of the street side units won't have that full porch, and neither will units 3 and 4, right? Okay.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, why don't you just jump back to the elevation? You just kind of walk us around this thing. I think the commission kind of needs to be able to just think about, understand what it is. So, what about the side? Can you go to the typical side view? Okay. So the right elevation, like that's the side we're going to see from the road if you were to pull into the parking lot of the units 3 and 4. Okay.
Yes.
I guess
Correct.
I understand that. Okay.
Yes. Dotted lines are those 2 units 5 and 6.
Okay. All right. To me though, and then, really then we'd see one left side, just pan over to the left. Okay. So we got a couple windows over there. Okay. What are the dimensions of the buildings again, and sort of footprint for the interior block, Trey?
Real small, 20 by 22, if I remember right.
Okay.
20 by 22.
It's 8-foot ceilings?
Yes.
Okay.
But some thought of dropping them down to 7.6 for a couple reasons, but it just from a cost standpoint, it's the same cost. So it's been drawn as 8 foot.
Okay. I think that, the straight up and down building, you sort of lose a 2-story building that's a small footprint, has this very sort of vertical feel to it. You sort of lose some of that cutesy character of some of the photos you showed. But I mean, I can understand what the stated intent is. I just wanted to understand the elevations, because I know these drawings are trying to do dual purpose or sort of apply to 6 buildings that are in different places. So does anybody else want to see any other views of this?
Well, I have a color question. I don't know if it's the right time to ask that.
Go right ahead.
Oh, okay. I think it was Greg. I'm not sure who described what the colors would be. Could you go over that again? What the color of the siding would be in the various buildings, and how you would vary that if you intended to?
All
I have a question.
buildings are Arctic white. Am I muted? I'm not muted. Arctic white, bright white, except for the gable ends. And if we use a natural cedar shake, which is what we were proposing up in there. But I think we were varying in texture, not color, what was the main, or the plan anyway. So a board and batten, unfortunately, that may create more of a vertical feel to the units, but with a horizontal band at the gable end, that break might help us out as far as
it would,
minimizing
but I don't know how everybody else feels. I don't know how everybody else feels, but I would be a little concerned about the fact that they were all white. They would tend to look a little like, factory housing. I think they could be warmer looking if there was some sort of shade, some coloring to these buildings. Perhaps a choice of 2 different colors, something very light and pale. I think it would make the buildings look a little more elegant. I don't know how everybody else feels about that, but I think a series of 6 white buildings gives it a very stark sort of, well, factory is the only, like factory worker buildings that you see in the industrial heartland of America.
Before you guys respond to any of that, can I just, Fred, do you have something you want to say?
Yeah, I had a question. If we could go back to the site plan. Uh, Can you locate approximately, can you give us the approximate location of the neighbor to the south?
The neighbor to the south is the ball fields. So the
Oh,
first neighbor is,
No, the ball field is to the north.
hmm, I think the ball field is to the south and to the east, but I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure I got that right.
Well, is
Railroad, well,
railroad is where?
it's to the north.
To the north. And
Yeah, there's a 6-foot fence that runs along the northern property line, and then the house is, it's probably about where my cursor is.
is, John, is this the location of where Tim Buchanan used to live?
It's south of that, I think. Didn't he live on the corner?
Yeah, there's 3 houses, Fred, from Railroad Avenue down on this side of the street. There's 3 houses, and the one on the corner is the one that's wedged in there that was green, maybe still is green.
Yes.
And then there's the white 2-story house with a little barn behind it.
Yes.
And then there's this house. And then the ball fields are the next thing as you go toward town. So I think Greg is right. To the south property line is the beginning of the ball field property.
Okay.
Okay.
I had the wrong location, I think.
You know, the first time we looked at this, I thought it was south of the ball field also. And then I realized into the presentation it wasn't. So.
Okay, I have no question then.
Okay. You know, this is a good place to talk about color. And I'm going to ask Ron, you know, if I could go back to the site for a second, Trey. If there was, or Greg, whoever's driving the bus there. So if there was a variation in color, would we recommend maybe that the 2 on the street stay the same color?
Oh, yes, perhaps. Yes, sure.
Okay.
I would just try to warm it up as opposed to stark white throughout. I guess I would recommend not having a white, those white sort of tallish, slender buildings, one right after another.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think, you know, Hardy makes an off-white, it's called cobblestone. I found I've used their Arctic white one time and it's really white. I don't know. It's just something to consider, Trey. If you guys, I mean, even if they're all the same, you know, or whatever you decide to do, I would prefer it be something a little warmer than all white.
Right, and I think it would add a little more neighborly feel too. I think people would feel more comfortable living in just something slightly different than their neighbor, even if it was just a few shades different in different colors. You know, one a light tan maybe, and another one a light brown, or I mean a light yellow. Just something warmer. It doesn't have to be a dark color.
Yeah. One thing maybe is if you did 1 and 2 in a shade, and you did 3 and 4 in a shade, and you did the last 2 in a shade, you know, they'd have company.
That's fine. Whatever.
Whatever.
The warm.
I make that suggestion only because I don't think making them all different is the answer either. Personally, I don't know.
Also, I think that the black roof and the awning, the material would work better with a color than it would with white.
Yeah. And is that black? I missed that. Is that what the metal roof is, Trey? Or it's the shingle roof you said was black?
Both are black now.
Okay. So the metal
Both
roof is
are
also
proposed
black.
to be black now.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Any other, did we lose John or is he off my screen? Anybody else have anything else? Oh, there he is.
Matt, I had one question for Greg. What are those clouds in front of the units 2 and 3 or 3, 4, and 5?
Those are snow storage areas.
So just going to be grass.
Well, they're areas where we can pile snow up. So yes, trying to avoid, there's probably a little bit of landscaping in there, but we got to put the snow somewhere. So I think for the most part, I tried to avoid full-on trees and so forth. But the Planning and Zoning Commission wanted to see what we're going to do with the snow. We said there's a little limited areas on site, given the current, I guess, snowfall amounts that we've had over the past few years. If it gets too much snow, we'll truck it off site like places do. But those are areas we would pile it up on site.
And one other question on the units. So unit or all the units 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 all have the elevation of the front door. So 5 and 6 would have a front door not going towards the U walkway, but towards the rear property line.
Actually, 5 and 6 would have a front door towards the walkway, towards the U walkway. They don't have the stoop that 1, 2, 3, and 4 have. That's actually the front door where the stoop is. So I'm guessing that owners or renters of 1 and 2 would enter from the back door for the most part. Maybe 3 and 4 might enter the front door or the back door. And the actual front door for units 5 and 6 are on the walkway.
Was there a magic number? Was 6 a magic number? 6 units? I mean, how did you come up with 6? You felt that the most that site could take?
I mean, we looked at a larger number. We looked at, lower
Well,
numbers. That
suggesting
that
small.
number seemed to work for a couple different reasons. The septic worked, the drainage worked, the parking worked. If we had more than 6 units, we would have needed more parking.
But what about less than 6? You never considered that, obviously.
We didn't really. There's the affordable project is a 30% set aside for affordable units. So there was a little bit of magic there with making that work. We needed the 4 non-affordable units to make the numbers work. If you went to 5, it would be 3 and 2 versus 4 and 2. So the rents for the 60% are relatively low.
Any other questions or from anybody? We're good. I guess I don't have any other questions. No, I would just ask that when you choose exactly your widths of things like corner boards, tray, just think of the demure dimensions of the building and maybe, that they don't become too wide, and, it's all about creating a facade that's, that's scaled down from what you typically see, but your windows are still big. So it's kind of like having, they're just big cutouts in a small wall, on the fronts. And really that's from the street, and I think if you could use maybe a little, something a little softer on the street, or maybe those 2 are white and the other ones are softer. I would just recommend that.
Yep. This is Trey again. I think we would encourage a mixture of colors. It wasn't that we weren't, we're not opposed to it. We just thought that white was the right answer. Yeah, but I think you guys are right or onto something there. It'd be maybe 3 colors throughout the site. Scotland.
That would be fun. We just
would
would
be
need to see
one color.
what you would recommend, you know.
Well, we've done a lot of hardy plank and the Arctic white. And then there's 2 other shades, including the one that was on that sample building that are not dark, but they're definitely would read as a different color. And I think I would encourage that for this project, yes. And certainly willing to
Okay.
modify plans to reflect color, yes.
Okay. Do we, does someone want to make a motion about our recommendation of this, or a summarization of our comments? Did we lose Fred, John? Is it just me and you? Can we even do this, John, Delora?
Do you want me to stop sharing, Matt?
No, leave it up if you don't mind.
Oh, okay.
Greg.
I'm looking, how many do we have? Yeah, we've got Fred, Ron,
Oh, there's Ron. Okay,
John.
sorry.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Greg, is there a landscape plan?
Uh,
Okay.
I just wanted to say that I think that this is the type of project that I think of that little berm, which I think is going to remain that you have from the street, that, you know, really nice plantings that you maintained along the road there could make all the difference in the way people perceive this personally. You know, being planting beds or flowers, and it would be an annual expense or what have you. But I think that could really make it look very cute with just the right plantings. Do you agree with that, John?
I think a real landscape plan would go a long way on this project.
Well, we can require that, John.
I think the impression you'd get from the street right now, I'm trying to read some of the proposed varieties.
Right there.
It's not really a plant, it's just really plant material that has been placed on a plant. I think that a couple other things. I think the units themselves look very nice. I think the size of them are good. I think the 6 could work on it. I'm not super crazy about the layout of the walkways or the stone dust. I think that probably might want to be a harder surface. But my real concern is that you have these nice units on a fairly small lot, but there's been no care taken with what the property is going to look like from Scotland Avenue, from a green standpoint.
Yeah, I think we've got I mean, I don't know where we stand in the process on this, and also everybody knows this is affordable, and I think that probably legally our opinions are perhaps at worst meaningless. But I think what would be nice is if, you know, and I would entertain a motion to you know, recommend that this thing move forward with the application of some variation in color and so on. But maybe what you guys could do is when you get there, get to the point that you're going to do landscape between those front buildings and the road especially, you know, maybe you guys just bring in whoever your favorite landscaper is, Trey, who does a little bit of design work, whether it be Jay Santoro or whoever, and do a little plan and let John Cunningham look at it. And I really think it could really upscale your property a lot if you did that. It's my personal opinion.
I'd agree with that.
As far as everything else, you know, again, we're not here to comment on any of the rest of it, the density or whatnot. I think John Cunningham's comment was correct. I I think it works with 6, because all you're really going to see are 2 to 4 of these little guys. And, it is what it is. So I don't think it's, and I like the fact that they're small. I mean, that's really the key move. So
Can we include the landscaping in a motion?
I think we can probably say whatever we want in a motion yet. So I think we should just entertain a motion of whatever you guys think it should say.
Excuse me, Matt, if I may just provide you with at least the status of the Planning and Zoning Commission and what their time frame is and approval process. So yes, this is an affordable housing appeals application where the Planning and Zoning Commission is reviewing this as a site plan application. Under our site plan application procedures, yes, applications are referred to you for comments, and the commission will look to your recommendations with respect to architectural or landscape recommendations. However, because it is a site plan application, the Planning and Zoning Commission is bound by the 65-day time frame to act on this application, regardless of the fact that they have public hearing process involved. That being said, this Thursday is their last meeting without being granted an extension to act on this, close the public hearing and act on the application. The Planning and Zoning Commission cannot condition an approval based on the return of an applicant to an outside committee. So any of your recommendations for landscaping should be incorporated into their final plan for approval with the Planning and Zoning Commission. So if you do have recommendations for that, you should put those into your motion for the commission to consider at their meeting on Thursday. That makes sense?
Okay, thank you for helping us with that. My feeling is we send this on its way tonight and not try to drag this out any further anyway. So does John, Fred, or Ron want to make a motion?
I could try to make a motion. You can modify it as I go along. I guess I would make a motion. I would propose a motion that states that the commission approves the design of the buildings with the proviso that that they be different colors as discussed, and that a landscape architect be employed in order to enhance the overall plan and the way the property looks from Scotland Avenue. But I guess I would add also that we don't necessarily comment on the density of the property because of the nature of the affordable housing considerations.
So to distill that down, and I'm not sure if Aaron or John's trying to write that down, but so we would recommend that this move forward, with the condition, that the variation in color be considered and hopefully presented, even if it's after the fact, and that a professional landscape plan, particularly for along the street, should be required at some point.
Right. I mean, I think that the colors, it shouldn't just be considered. I mean, it would be considered the intention of executing.
Yeah, right.
Different colors.
When I said considered, I mean the specifics of what colors they are.
Yes.
I think variation in color is something we'd like to see.
Yeah.
Any discussion on this? John, Fred, no. How about a second? No second?
No second.
I'll second.
Okay, Fred, thanks. I think as chair, I'm not really supposed to initiate a motion. I could be wrong. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, guys. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Good
you.
evening.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You want to adjourn, Matt?
Before we do that, I just wanted to bring up and maybe get something on the agenda for next month, what you and I have talked about, Ron, just sort of spurred by some of the commentary of that we hear around town about people's, how they've received the General's Residence project.
Oh.
So maybe we could just make a note on the next agenda that I know Ron feels strongly, and I agree with him for the most part, that we ought to, as a group, maybe just figure out what, where we stand on some of these things, and not speaking for Ron, but I mean, he's said to me on a couple of occasions that, that he thinks that sometimes we're just a little too relaxed maybe in letting these things go
I
through.
keep wondering where they're going to put the replica of the general's residence.
I know. But so if we can just we just get that on it as an agenda item next time, as a discussion of the committee's approach to recommending or approving aesthetic things would probably be the one thing.
Would that come like after a regular meeting, or would that?
Yeah, at the end of our regular
discussion?
meeting. Yeah, the end of a regular meeting.
Because that kind of thing would be helpful in person, around a big table or something like that.
I would agree. Is there any plan to go back to that these days, or no? John or Aaron?
It
Sorry,
would be
what?
nice if we could see a
In-person meeting.
planting plan, where they intended to, and what they intended to plant.
Yeah, on the last one, you mean, Fred?
Yeah,
Yeah. So is there any plan to get in-person meetings again? Probably not with the latest COVID news, right?
Not until April.
Oh, that's not that far out.
No.
Okay. All right, well, that's all I had. Can I?
Matt, we have
Yeah.
2 sets of minutes.
Oh, okay, sorry. Has everybody reviewed the minutes?
I have not.
I'll make a motion to approve them, Matt. Both
I'll
of
second.
them. Okay, good. There you go. Call you vice chair.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's both of them, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
there is.
Okay, second.
I'll second.
Aye.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Have a good night and have a good holiday,
gentlemen.
everybody.
Yeah,
You
take
too.
care, everyone.
You.
Take care.